So far so good? Job not boring. Some people can't wait for me to finish Job, then they can come for Psalms. Well, I said Job is interesting. He said Job is very long. You don't know what is long suffering. Okay, anyway, Job chapter 30. Now, chapter 30 is about present. About the present suffering. So let's see. Up there for you, 4 points. So in chapter 30, he lamented. That means speaking with regret. His present suffering. Verse 1 to 8, about men who taunt him, who mocked at him. Hey, they used to respect me, no. They used to look up to me, now they are looking down. Verse 9 to 15, their actions against him, what they did to him. 16 to 23, his struggles, his own afflictions. And then the last one, verse 24 to 31. He still remembers his past acts of compassion. That means what he has done good in the past. And then looking at that and say, still got no hope. No good thing is happening to him in the future. So chapter 30. But now, but now. So when you see but now, that means what? It tells us there is a reversal, change of situation. But now they mock at me, men younger than I. In the center margin, he explained, fewer days, of course, younger, fewer days, fewer months, fewer years, whose fathers I disdain to put with the dogs of my flock. Wow, you know how he described these people? These are fools. They are these young fellas who are mocking me now. You know, their fathers. I wouldn't even employ their fathers. You know, I had flocks. I got sheep. I got herd and so on. Sheep lah. I got sheepdog to look after. I wouldn't even put these fathers with my dogs. And you know, Jews don't exactly look too kindly to dogs, right? They're a bit despised. And he said, your father, I wouldn't even put next to my dog to look after the sheep. And now they are mocking me. Actually, when he said this, he's actually putting himself very low. That means the low of the low is actually mocking him. Indeed, what profit is the strength of their hands to me? Their vigor. Now he's still pointing fingers at them. He's still saying things, not too kind things about these people. Their vigor has perished. That means these people, no more strength in them. They're old. They are gaunt from want and famine. They are thin and haggard. That's what it means. From want, from lack. And they are thin and haggard from lack of the basic things. And from famine. Fleeing late to the wilderness. Desolate and waste. Because nothing to eat here. There is no provision. So they run. But you shouldn't be running to the wilderness. Because wilderness is really a tougher place, right? But no choice. Wherever they were, in the city, no provision, no food, no nothing. So they ran to the wilderness. They were really desperate and waste. And what were they looking for in the wilderness? Verse 4. Who pluck mallow by the bushes and broom tree roots, but for their food. You know what are mallow and broom tree roots? These are food of the poor. The food of the poor. Example, the mallows. I went to check it out. These leaves are very sour. Very sour. Like you drink Chinese herbal tea. Herbal medicine, wow, black and sour. But that's what they had when they went into the wilderness to look for food. And tree roots. These are long, straight branches, small leaves, but their roots are poisonous. Their roots are poisonous. So you must be careful. Whatever you eat, you must avoid the roots. Tough. But the poor, these fools whom he was trying to describe for us, they were desperate. They got no choice. They had to go to the wilderness. But at the same time, by saying this, he's comparing. I was rich. They were poor. But now these poor people are mocking me. You understand? Comparison. They were driven out from among men. Where were the men? The men were in the city. These people were chased out. They shouted at them as at a thief. That means those who are in the city shouted at all these desperate people as if they were thieves. And so, verse 6, they had to live in the clefts of the valleys, in the caves of the earth and the rocks. No proper homes for them. They are like a pack of wild animals running into nature, staying in the valleys and in the rocks, in the caves. Among the bushes, they brayed. You know who brayed? Who brayed? Donkeys. So you see, Job is not exactly broken in spirit. He is still thinking of the times when he was in a position of wealth and influence. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles. Nettles are shelters. Under the nettles they nestled. They were sons of fools. Yes, the sons of vile men. Vile men, it means debased or immoral, wicked. They were scourged from the land. He was describing all this as fools. Not exactly very diplomatic guy, right? He's telling us all this, verse 1 to verse 8, to tell us, verse 9. Verse 9 is now. These are the fools, and what are they doing to me? Their actions against him. And now I am their taunting song. Yes, I am their byword. They make a joke of me. They are mocking at me. That's what he's saying. So they are singing and rejoicing over my downfall. That's what he's saying. And now I am an outcast to them. I am their taunting song. They abhor me. They hate me. They keep far away from me. They do not hesitate to spit in my face. Disrespect. Now, one thing, I won't even say the old days, even today, it is very impolite and disrespectful when you spit at someone, right? And more so you spit at his face. Very, very rude. But some people, it is part of their conversation because when they speak, there is rain. So please keep your distance, okay? Carry umbrella. But it is ironical because in chapter 29, he was boasting about his life, about his circumstances, his situation. He was boasting. But now in chapter 30, he was seeking sympathy. You understand? A change of fortune, whatever you call it. Okay? A reversal of circumstances. He was up on the mountain, now he's down in the valley. Now he's seeking sympathy. Compared to chapter 29. But we are seeing a little bit more from Job as we go on to verse 11. Because he got Adamic sickness. You know what's Adamic sickness? Let's read verse 11. Because he, small h or small, big H? Big H, right? Because he has loosed my bowstring and afflicted me. Bowstring, like I said, bow is a picture of life. Whether it is strong or weak. You have good life or lousy life. His bowstring, God has loosened it and afflicted me. So my life is not so great anymore. I'm in bad shape because he has loosened the bowstring and afflicted me. So who is he blaming now? Blaming God. First 8 verses, he scolded the fools. And then now he comes to verse 11. He said, but he has loosened the bowstring and afflicted me. And of course, like Adam, when he was caught, what are you eating? Hey, she gave it to me. You understand? Put the blame. He never paused for a moment to say, actually I was proud in my good days. I did good works, but I did not acknowledge and recognize the one who made it all possible. Yeah, I repent. That would have done the job, but he didn't. But instead now he said, God, you loosened my bowstring, you afflicted me. He is putting the blame unto God. God's fault. They have cast off restraint before me. So those people who used to bow before him, kowtow before him, maybe they were a bit upset with him, but still, because Job is the chief and the king and the commander, so they hold back. But now, give back to you, they cast off restraint before me. At my right hand, the rebel arises. Rebel means mob. You know mob? Crazy people. Now, I think 1-2 days ago, somebody sent me a video. And it is sad. I didn't circulate because it is not. If you watch it, you may not sleep. You know, Iraq is going through crisis now, right? And the Sunnis who are fighting the Shiite leaders of the country, they rounded up Christians in Iraq. Christians. And they had them all kneel down. And the mob was surrounding them. And one by one, they put a bullet in their head. On the video. If you want, after tea break, I show. It's ugly. It is evil. It is satanic. And once one started shooting, and you saw execution, like Japanese wartime, they just shot. The Christians were just kneeling down. They shot one by one. And after a while, frenzy. Everyone started shooting, and they were just shooting all the Christians. The rebel. So we just pray. There are Christians, even in all these Muslim countries. God has preserved them, but they are paying a higher price than what we are paying. So the little sacrifice of pain, discomfort we go through is nothing. They are living dangerously, but that is martyrdom. I know in the book of Revelation, the martyrs will cry for the blood of those who killed them. Vengeance is the Lord. So, the rebel arises, they push away my feet. Means what? They trip me. They push away my feet. And they raise against me their ways of destruction. So they put obstacles before him, they trip him, and they come against him. They break up my path. They promote my calamity. They have no helper. They come as broad breakers. Now, under the ruinous storm, they roll along. Now, this is water engineering. If you look at some of those beaches, they usually have water breakers. Because when the storm breaks, and then the waves will rush into the shore, and some waves can have very, they're quite high. And so water breakers, breakwaters they call it, breakwaters will be there to break. So by the time it hits the shore, the impact will be less intense. Of course, but when you have a tsunami, then it's totally different. But for normal waves, these are what breakwater. So I went to NTI to study water engineering. Joe went to which university? How come he knows all this? This was in the patriarch years. And he wrote, they come as broad breakers, like wave crashing down, right? Under the ruinous storm, they go along. Terrors are turned upon me. They pursue my honor as the wind. They pursue my honor as the wind. You know, when the wind blows, in that kind of circumstance, the wind can be very strong. Keep blowing and blowing. At the end of the day, the only thing I have to hold on to is my honor, right? Well, they still chase after my honor. They really want me to be separated from my honor. You understand? That's what it means. And my prosperity has passed like a cloud. Means cloud here, cloud goes. What? Prosperity here, now gone. Has passed like a cloud. They must have looted him, took away from him. So these were all the actions against him. Now the third part, it's his internal affliction, his struggles. Verse 16. And now my soul is poured out because of my plight. He is telling us he is grieved. My soul is inside. My soul is poured out because of my plight, my difficult circumstances. The days of affliction take hold of me. I am really heartbroken. I am isolated. And then now he talks about even his bones. My bones are pierced in me at night, and my gnawing pains take no rest. He is wasting away. His spirit is crushed and broken. Do you understand? It wasn't easy for him to suffer those skin disease and scratching and out there. I'm sure it hurts him not only on the outside but also on the inside. He was wasting away. But by great force, my garment is disfigured. Your Bible book, garment or skin? Garment. It is skin. It is referring to skin. He is just saying my garment. At that point in time, his only garment is not his robe of righteousness. His garment is his skin. His skin is disfigured because he had all the boils on his skin. It binds me about as the collar of my coat. You know, collar of the coat? Is it very loose? Of course, some people wear loose, but collar of my coat is, like, so he's saying, wow, this skin binds me. Binds means tight, right? It's very uncomfortable, I'm disfigured. But that was his situation. But compared to chapter 29, he said, I put on the robe of righteousness. Right? You go and read verse 14 again, chapter 29. In comparison, the world has changed for him. Verse 19, again blame God. He has cast me into the mire, disgrace, in the miry pit. We always say miry pit, down there, pit, a place of disgrace. And I've become like dust and ashes. He knows because he was sitting at the place of ashes. Then he said, where are you, God? Sometimes people ask that when they are down and out, God, where are you? God has never left. He's always there with you. I cry out to you, but you do not answer me. I stand up and you regard me, but you have become cruel to me. With the strength of your hand, you oppose me. You don't care about me. You don't love me. Who dares to say this to God? Anyone? Anyone there? You pray like that? I cannot. But some people do. Some people do. When they're really, really, really down, they just deny God. They deny God. Please, God can forgive you of every sin. But when you deny Him, He will deny you. Okay? So don't. You lift me up to the wind and cause me to ride on it. So you're throwing me to the wind, and the wind blow, and I'm just floating around, bounce here and there. You spoil my success. My business used to be making millions by the day, man. I got so many stores, I got this and that. But now, you spoil my success. But verse 23, he came to his senses. Verse 23, what did he say? For I know you will bring me to death. So Job was waiting to die. And to the house, I know you will bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living. The house appointed for all living. You know what was he referring to? He actually was referring to cemetery. You will bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living. But why living? Death, cemetery, but why living? You remember Job 29 and 19 verse 25. This guy, Job, he has his down moments, but he still is a God-fearing man. He still knows God. So Job 19, verse 25. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and he shall stand at last on the earth. And after my skin is destroyed, which actually we just read, right? This I know, that in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself. My eyes shall behold and not another. How my heart yearns within me. So, this living is for the future. You understand? He may die, but he knows he will see, because my Redeemer lives. My eyes shall behold him and no other. You understand? Okay. So, verse 23, I read again. Despite all his internal struggles and complaints and so on, but I know that you will bring me to death. We all will die. It's appointed to man once to die. Okay. And you will bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living. Now we come to the last section of chapter 30. This is still reflected back on his past acts of compassion. hopefully he can score some points and help him through. Surely, verse 24, he will not stretch out his hand against a heap of ruins. You know, he said, heap of ruins. You know, ruins. Ruins, that means rejected, rubbish, unwanted. If it is really rubbish, why would you still want to punish it? You know, what else you want to do to a heap of rubbish? But he said, surely he will not stretch out his hand against a heap of ruins, if they cry out when he destroys it. Have I not wept for him who was in trouble? Has not my soul grieved for the poor? God, in my past, I've responded to other people in need. As if you need to remind God. As if he doesn't know. Because everything you did and you didn't do is all recorded in books. Revelation you shall see. But when I looked for good, evil came to me. And when I waited for light, then came darkness. He's saying as if his whole life was this way. He has done well, and then he looked for good, evil came. You forgot about the times when you were prosperous. In chapter 29, you were good, what? And when you were good, do you know many people were having it not so good? Right? And when I waited for light, then came darkness. Once you were in the light, but there were others who were in darkness. My heart is in turmoil and cannot rest. Days of affliction confront me. I go about mourning, but not in the sun. You know why? Hot now. You cry, don't cry under the sun. Okay? I stand up in the assembly and cry out for help. I am a brother of jackals. You know, jackals are wild animals and so on. So just now he was describing these people as a pack of wild animals, these fools. Now he said, I am a brother of jackals and a companion of ostriches. These are not indoor stuff, right? These are all outdoor animals, birds, and companion of ostriches. My skin grows black and falls from me. So can you imagine his skin condition? It is withering, the scabs, and then they turn black, and then they fall from him. My bones burn with fever. My heart is turned to mourning. I didn't know he brought his musical instruments to the heap of rubbish. But harp and the flute, all these are instruments of worship that you use for praising God, right? These are moments of joy and celebration. But it's turned to mourning. And my flute to the voice of those who weep. So, what was Job doing? He was singing the blues. Someone had this song, Desert Blues. So he was singing Desert Blues. But even in all these bluish moments of his, there was no brokenness in spirit. You don't see him coming in repentance. But he was still justifying himself. And he also blamed God. And all this because he has in him still pride that he has to deal with. Because all this chapter 29 and the last part of chapter 30, he was, you know what is this? Patting yourself on the back. Your hand's too short, you can't pat. I pat myself. Okay, so that is chapter 30.